tyres. If you've got Runflat tyres on your car, you will have this down here, the RSC. That's Runflat safety, or you'll have RFT, Runflat tyre, on there somewhere. Now, cars have switched over to these because it means a huge saving in weight. Particularly BMW has swapped over and are no longer providing spare tyre, but they also don't provide a jack or a wheel spanner. Is back here, there is no spare tyre in here, but there are some things you can do if you have Runflat tyres, because these can actually split. If you hit a pothole, I've seen it a couple of times. I'll put a link to another video up here where I was repairing these when I first bought them, and one of the tyres had a massive big split down the sidewall where it had run into a pothole. Does happen. It's rare, but it does happen. And if that happens, there's nothing you can do without a spare. You absolutely have to have it, or you have to get towed. There's no repairs. But if you get a screw or a nail or something like that, the whole thing is you get it's like 80-80. You can travel at 80 kilometers an hour or 50 miles an hour for 50 miles or for 80 Ks. So if you're in metric countries, you can travel at 80 Ks an hour max for 80 Ks. If you're in the Imperial, then you can travel at 50 miles an hour max for 50 miles. You're still limited. This is our big car, the one we take for trips. This is our little work car. Neither of them have a spare or a jack. So what you can do when you've got a car that you're going to get a little bit out of town and that you're more than 80 Ks away, you can actually do something to get you home without being stranded. We went away, it was about a 4.5 hour drive where we were, and we left pretty late at night. So we're talking 11 o'clock at night coming home on a Sunday night. If we'd had a flat tyre, there was nothing we could do about it. We were 400 Ks away. So if you got a screw and it goes flat straight away, you can't run 400 Ks with a Runflat. So we would have been absolutely stranded where we were. But there are some things you can do. So there's two different things I do which can really help you out. One of them, in under here, is a can of what they call quick fix tyre sealant. Super cheap water, that's an Australian brand, but I'll put a link in the description as to where you can get this stuff, so you can find the right stuff. And what it does is actually got a tyre valve fitting on it here, so you screw that onto the tyre valve out here, take your little cap off and screw that on, and then use it like a pressure pack. And if you've had a screw in there, they actually tell you to take the screw out first, and then you pump it up, and that'll put the air back in the tyre, and it seals it, because where it's leaking out, all the air runs to that spot where it's leaking out. This actually runs to that spot. Now, I've read some of the forums online, and it talks about if you roll forward a little bit, just super duper slow, all of this stuff will sort of be forming in the bottom, and it can go to wherever the puncture is. But it's really excellent stuff, and it will stop the puncture. So with stuff like this, that can actually get you home. Now, there's one more thing. Now, you're going to have to be a little bit handy to be able to handle this next one, but you've also got, on the roadside, tyre repair kits. That's guys like this. So you've got a few different tools in here. This is not an expensive kit, but for me, it's the difference when you're 400 or 500 Ks away of being able to keep going. What you do, again, you need to be able to get the screw out. So let's be honest, I've had to do that before on the side of the road. You actually need a few tools. So I've beefed up my BMW toolkit as well with a decent pair of pliers, something very strong, very old as well. I think they're from my grandfather. And also a couple of screwdrivers, just so that I can fix some things. And you'd be amazed what you'll be able to get out of a tyre with a decent screwdriver like that. But if you're thinking about that, now what you do with these guys, actually I'll put up here, I'll put a link of fully how to use this on a separate video. I'll put that up there, and I'll also put a link in the description as where to buy one of these sets. But basically, this gives you a patch that'll get you home, that 400 Ks, that 1000 Ks, whatever. They're saying not a permanent patch. I've heard people say that they are actually quite permanent. And in a Runflat, let's face it, if it starts to leak, the tyre doesn't go flat. It's not a safety issue, it just goes soft again, and then you've got the same thing going over. So anyway, I'll put a link to that and to that in the description, but that's what I recommend. If you've got a car that you're actually doing longer trips, bigger trips in, then this, to have it on board when you're in a bit of a longer trip situation, you can't just come home local or go to a local shop, is going to mean it's the equivalent of having a spare. You can get the air back in your tyre. So again, you've got a major hole. You can patch it with this, and then there's enough compressed air in here to actually pump you up to get you to the next service station. Then you can fill the tyre properly up with air. So those two in combination, you're not going to get yourself stranded. So I would recommend, if you've got yourself a car with run flats, that you get those as well. Interestingly, what did BMW supply with this car? Nada, nothing at all, just the run flats. No jack, no wheel spanner, no nothing. So they're sort of thinking it's all going to be done at a service level and all done for you. So for the handyman, someone who likes to do a bit of stuff like that himself, you need to gear up with some extra things. Okay, that's it from Mark's Reviews and Tutorials. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you like these products, I'll do a bit of research and I'll find some good ones, and I'll put some links to some good buying prices for those. Sayonara. I've also found some more comprehensive kits with a little compressor and so forth, so just a little bit more to them. I'll put a link to those as well. You can have a look at those as well. Enjoy your trip.